Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Negative Alpha Bravo. And this is 7 November Golf, Roger. Request you check your Romeo side. I'll go ahead and check my Tango side. 7 November Golf out. 7 November 8 and 8 Class 7 November, say again. 7 November, go. I copied a while ago, 1 Charlie transmission that my thing used, and 8 5, this is 7 November, Charlie. 8 5, right now. Now 1 Charlie, 7 November, go.
This is 1 Charlie, welcome to your last, you're Brandon 158 into Fox Drive, 1200 between teams, that's local. Also request your unit take inbound Nexus to see if we can try to get 59 and 8 for pause with the playground.
And this is 7 November, Roger, stand by.
Got that.
Got it? Alright. And all units, this is 7 November Golf, my unit Alpha, Echo, X-ray Alpha Alpha in there.
One Charlie, Alpha Bravo.
Hey, I never took a dip. I forgot to take a dip.
Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Whiskey 9, Yankee, 7 November Golf, over. This is Whiskey 9, go. Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Whiskey 9, Yankee, 7 November Golf, over. This is Whiskey 9, go. Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Negative Alpha Bravo. And this is 7 November Golf, Roger. Request you check your Romeo side. I'll go ahead and check my Tango side. 7 November Golf out. 7 November 8 5, and 8 Class 7 November, say again. 7 November, go.
All right, welcome to another live Q&A. You ask the questions, I give you an answer. If there's no questions, no live Q&A. So definitely ask me your VA disability questions. You'll see in the pinned chat here. Everyone can join the Discord. You should absolutely join the Discord. Members have 24/7 Q&A access to a retired VA rater. So he answers all questions up there. I pay for it, so definitely use him and abuse him. All right. But to kick it off, whoa, T. Sterling, thank you very much for joining as a member. Appreciate that. And Tyler gifted 5 memberships. That's awesome. The memberships are random. Okay, so Tyler, thank you very much for that. So Marco Chavane, Rare the Bear, BA Mike Foxtrot. I'm glad you got it. Delight and Scott Prince. Make sure you link your Discord accounts. All right. You get the member access there. Marco, welcome. Mike Dixon, how's it going? Tyler, thank you very much again. Appreciate that. Good evening, Siv. How's it going? Thank you, Tyler. Anonymous ×2. Texas offers a sales and use tax exemption for 100% disabled veterans starting January 1, 26. This exemption allows a veteran to purchase up to $25,000. You mean like sales tax on a vehicle or something? What are we talking about? Awarded 0% for hypertension. The rater didn't do something. I'll tell you this. So, didn't look at all evidence. I should be 10%. Should I challenge the rating or let it go? I mean, if that 10% would, if you do rate 10%, go for it. There's some other factors involved, like what would be your overall rating? Do you really rate 10%? Is it controlled by medication? I would personally look at secondaries. If you're on medication, is it a diuretic? That's a pretty solid secondary there with urinary frequency. Then you have your pseudo secondary presumptives, if you want to call them that, to hypertension with some heart issues, some kidney issues there, and there's a third one. I think it's stroke. Don't quote me on that, okay? But it's 3 of them. I'm pretty sure that's what they are. But yeah, so depends, maybe. And we have another new member that joined. Thank you very much, Monica Rataski. I appreciate that. Seriously, make sure you join the Discord server. Members and non-members, join the Discord server. For members, link your accounts. You'll get that Q&A access there. It's a really valuable tool. Quick question. I know VBA is stating that they're going through their backlogs. They absolutely are. That is happening. Whoa. Gifted memberships and that. Hold on. Let me answer this. You're insane. I'm dealing with VES, and my medical opinion DBQ has been in their quality control for over 2 months. Is that normal? Nope. That's not normal whatsoever. Way double the deadline there. Not normal at all. All right, we have a banger. So first, Tyler's a member and gifted 5 memberships. And then he has a super chat. Thank you very much, Tyler. I always feel weird when this happens. All right. I appreciate it. Thank you for everything. TheCivDiv channel got my notification today. I would not have been able to do it without the help of the channel. Yes, now I remember you. That's for you, man. That's for your 100% P&T award. Thank you very much. And thank you for, sharing that this channel was able to be a part of that process for you. So it's awesome to see, man. That's the whole reason we started this channel in the first place. When I say we, I mean me. Shane Bowman. Is NASH secondary to severe sleep apnea? Strong claim if I get a Nexus letter from AME. So it doesn't matter who you get your Nexus letter from. That's not what makes it good. All right. Obviously, whoever's doing it, you want them to not be an idiot. So to answer your question, American medical experts is definitely not an idiot. They're good. But that's secondary. What matters is, one, I don't even know what NASH is. 2, what is your evidence connecting the two? Because the Nexus is only as good as your evidence. And so I would look at your evidence first. And if you have it, then someone who's not an idiot like AME can do your Nexus letter DBQ for you. Evidence is always the answer, no matter what. I'm 100% P&T and just at the 5-year mark. How safe am I from a rating reduction? You're fine, dude. You're safe. There's a technical answer here, and that's not going to be what you want to hear. But the real answer is you're safe. As long as you go about your willy-nilly life, don't do anything crazy like submit for SMCs or, appeals on effective dates or anything like that, you should be fine. Now, fraud is fraud. Don't forget that. The real answer is the only protections are the 10-year rule for service connection, the 20-year rule for your rating. That's the real answer. That's a technical answer, but the real answer is you're fine. You have nothing to worry about, dude. What are some of the possible troubles for filing for an increase in rating? Thanks. So it depends. First off, everyone will say don't poke the bear. I would combat that with, if you're not 100%, if you are not rated at 100%, poking the bear should not exist in your vocabulary, okay? Not at all. So if you're 90, 80, 70, if you're not properly rated, you poke away, all right? But what are some of the possible troubles for filing for an increase in rating? It depends, right? Generally speaking, I would say almost none, but there are certain situations, and I see this all the time. That's why I made a video about it not too long ago. People are rated for depression at 70% or PTSD at 70%. And then they submit an insomnia claim or an anxiety claim that warrants a CMP exam. And yeah, in that situation, you're putting yourself in the crosshairs to be reduced according to a new CMP exam. Okay. But for the most part, like the idea that the VA is just out to get veterans, it's not true. It makes for a good title and thumbnail here on YouTube, but it's not true. All right. So I hope that gives you some calming there. Plus, Bill, if you send us an email at vaclaims@ebvaclaims.com, it's our claim service that we do for veterans. I'll be able to look at your situation and give you my full answer as to what I think you should do. Marco, yep, that's cool. Hello, hi. The Raider didn't. Oh yeah, we answered that one. Good evening. How's it going? Kent, denied rhinitis twice. Ratus fails to provide STR with evidence to examiner. So looking at claims processing there, that seems like a higher level review if your in-service records of your upper respiratory condition weren't reviewed. I don't think that's probably not the case, to be honest with you. I would be very interested in looking at that decision letter. Maybe you should email us, Kent. Appeals are where people make their money. Okay, they're actually difficult. You actually need guidance on those, so maybe you consider giving us a shout. But yeah, it just depends on what the reasoning is for your denial. What I don't want to see is you have shaky evidence at best in service, and then the examiner came in and said, hey, I saw the evidence from service, but that evidence from service isn't necessarily linked to the chronic diagnosis, right? That's what you don't want. That would be like worst case scenario for you. Oscar, thank you for being a member. I appreciate that very much. Saw your vid on Vet's Guardian. Know some I've went through them. Any info on the court date? I'm curious. No, that was just they tried to get it dismissed and the judge was like, nope, you're going to court, buddy. And so I'm sure that's going to take a long time. And it's not, this is the issue. It's not that every veteran who used Veterans Guardian is on the table. That's not the case. I think every veteran who used Dr. Villarosa, which I think is his name, if I'm remembering right, everyone who has a DBQ by that provider, if these allegations hold true, people are going to get smacked hard. Okay, absolutely hard. And the VA is going to come down on them as they should. Okay, as they absolutely should. I just had a comment where a veteran used Dr. Villarosa in his DBQ, and he was worried about the same thing. And if the allegations hold up, it's going down. It's going down if the allegations hold up. So the big thing on yeah, it's exactly, Kish. The big thing on that case is I think everyone is kind of missing the point. I definitely didn't do a good job explaining it. I should have opened with that. The reason that makes that case is what it is because it's not your typical claim sharks are operating illegal per Title 38 CFR, whatever. It's not that case because all those are basically dog water. This case has nothing to do with that. It's defrauding the government, and they have receipts of defrauding the government. So it's a little different. It's a little different. Thank you to whomever gifted me the membership. Oh, yeah, that was Tyler. Awesome. I received my decision on my HLR today. Hey, you are 100% PNT. That's awesome, dude. Hold on. I got something for you. Look at that. Congrats. I hope this channel, Scott, was along with you during that process. We see veterans get increased every day. Okay. So if you want to shoot us an email, go ahead, shoot us an email. If not, you want to keep twiddling your thumbs, that's fine. Do that too. There's a lot of people out there giving some snazzy sales pitches on their VA claim company, but I'm telling you, they all suck. Anyways, Howard Hamilton. Should I get a DBQ before submitting an increase or wait until after CMP exam results and get DBQ then if necessary? Normally, generally speaking, if you're already service connected and you're simply going for an increase, I probably would not recommend a DBQ. There are some situations I would, because increases are easiest. Okay. I would also want to know what your overall rating is. And if you got an increase, what are we talking about? Like, is it mental health at 50 and the increase would be 70 and that would push you to 100%? I would recommend two things. One, make sure you have the evidence for the increase. All right. Make sure you can always fall back on evidence, because if you get a bad CMP exam, you're toast. Okay. And two, the only way I would recommend a DBQ is if it would raise your overall rating. To me, that would be worth it, especially at 100%. But let's say you're 85 and 85% overall, you get a DB or you get an increase, you pay for DBQ, and then all of a sudden you're 91. It's still 90. The DBQ, for me, that would be a no. But at the end of the day, you know your claim better than I do. So I'm kind of making some assumptions here. But overall, if it would raise your overall rating and it's worth it, sure, go for it. That's the only way I would. Is it possible that the VA won't need a CMP exam for sleep apnea supplemental? Yeah, you'll have an ACE. All right. It depends on what we're looking at for CMP exam, but you'll likely have an ACE. I assume your supplemental, you were denied direct and claimed it secondary as part of your supplemental claim. Very, very common for sleep apnea. If that's the case, you already have the diagnosis, the sleep study confirmed the diagnosis, then you're probably looking at an ACE, right? Okay, we have another new member, Dave Quint. Thank you very much. I do not do a good job at pushing the Discord. There's so many things happening with the channel right now. I kind of fall back a little bit. I really need to push the Discord more. But thank you for being a member, Dave Quint. I appreciate that. Make sure you hop on Discord. All right. Link your accounts. There's a tutorial video on how to link your account if you need it. It's super easy. There's a support function there if you need help. And then you'll have access to Kish. If you're curious as to who runs the Q&A section on the Discord, it's Kishkin, retired VA Raider there. So he's a solid dude. And you'll see him down in the chat. So thank you very much. Appreciate that. Justin Morrison, I have a question. I have an answer. Hopefully, I'm 100% P&T. Congrats. And I have Crohn's disease. I get infusions every 6 weeks. Should I be worried or what? Nope. Shouldn't be worried. I'm just going to leave it at that. You should not be worried. Okay. And Crohn's is not, that's not that sucks, dude. Scott Price. Yes. Thank you, Tyler. Is it common for the VA to accidentally close a HLR without decision or any changes? It's common for it to close, and then you will eventually get a correspondence as to what's going on, right? Whether it's like a DTA error, whether you're being kicked to like a terror exam, or worse, it just got closed and double down on your denial, whatever that looks like. Okay. So I'd probably just give it some time. Okay. VA.gov or the VA app, you'll get your correspondence from the VA quicker. And if you really can't wait, you could call the VA. That's an option too. And they should be able to tell you at least what's going on there. Oh, so what it is? Yeah. So the HLR is. I see your comment down here. The HLR is closed. It's due to assist error. HLR done. Now your claim is essentially a supplemental claim, if you will, and so it's going through the process. Now, how long does that take? No one knows. Should I get a lawyer for taking 13 years to get my D214? I know there's a story there. Okay. That's a very broad. I can't give you an answer because getting your DD214 is very fast. You can do it online. That's why I think there's a story behind your DD214. So I just can't answer. I can't answer that. Filed for increase in 3 new claims. Is it possible that my increase could be done faster? The only thing that speeds up a claim is whenever it's truly fully developed. When the VA says fully developed, it just means that you submitted everything you could or everything you had. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about truly fully developed, where you have everything required to make the decision. I've seen DBQs from Dr. Sharma. I've seen DBQs and Nexus letters from American medical experts come back in 5, 6, 7, 8 days because it was a truly fully developed claim. And that's a lot easier to do with increases versus service connection claims. So the answer is yes, you just got to have the evidence. You're welcome. Please try to take advantage of the Discord and membership areas. Yes, you absolutely should. Everyone should hop on Discord. If you're watching this, you should hit like 1. Okay. Especially if I answer your question, that would help me out a lot. And 2, join the Discord. If you're a member, link your account. If not, it's okay. You can be a pleb. All right, Scott Price. I also got my HLR decision today, PNT now. Yep, we got you. That's awesome. Thank you very much for sharing that. We have a super chat. Bobby D's, is difference of opinion service connection for headaches, IBS, GERD, and stretch incontinence ACE exam a good thing? When it comes to the difference of opinion, there's 2 answers, and I know you're not going to like this. There's 2 answers. It's either really good or it's really bad. Okay. I'm hoping Kish weighs in on this because he would definitely have more insight on difference of opinion. But it's for service connection. And so if you warrant a new CMP exam, I think that would be overall good. Okay. Unless your previous CMP exam was favorable and now there's a difference of opinion, so it's opposite, that would be bad. So which one is it? Is having a new exam in your favor, or is having a new exam not in your favor because the new exam is going to contradict the previous exam? Hope that makes sense. Also, let me show everyone something that Bobby D's sent me. And I want to do you an offer, Bobby D's, after, because I know you're at like 94%, I'm pretty sure, if I remember. I remember you're up there. Depending on the outcome of this, if you're not 100%, reach out to me personally. You know how to reach out to me. And I'll hook you up with the free one-on-one at VA Claims. You've been a long time supporter of the channel. You sent me something really cool. Okay, I'm going to show everyone what you sent me. And so if you don't get rated after that, just hit me up. But I really love Darth Maul. You'll see all my Darth Maul stuff. She crocheted me a Darth Maul. It's missing an eyeball because my kids played with it. Look, the hood comes off. You can like take it off the back and everything. So Bobby D's, thank you. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. But yeah, if that doesn't come out in your favor, just hit me up. And thank you for the super chat. And thank you for always being a member of the channel. Support of the channel. All right. I filed a TBI claim recently and was rated at 50% MDD. Okay. When I read the letter, it says that matched the warranted 70 in my opinion. What should I do? I don't think you read that letter right. Okay. It's really hard for me to tell you without looking at the decision letter, but I'm going to make some assumptions here. First off, we commonly see TBI roped in at 70%. It doesn't mean it can't be roped in lower. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying commonly it's at 70% and above. With that said, I would ask what symptoms you reach, or what symptoms do you have that are objectively in the 70% criteria? Not one, not two. I want to know all of them. And then what symptoms do you have that are objectively in the 50% criteria? And then after you answer that, for 70%, I want to know what evidence you have to prove that. And then the answer to those questions would tell you, hey, do I do a higher level review? I assume this was a recent claim. Do I do an HLR on that and cite the evidence I had whenever I submitted my claim for 70%? Like, what does that look like? So before we answer your question, there's a few steps that you need to take to get that done there. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. I am service connected, 20% lower back. Okay. Lumbar spine here. I am diagnosed with radiculopathy and sciatica. I was denied sciatica. Should I refile for radiculopathy? It's really weird to see a denial on a lumbar, especially with degenerative disc disease. I'd be curious as to, you had the diagnosis. I want to know if you had the diagnosis prior. How long does this lower spine claim go back? Like, is it from 2010? And I don't know. I can tell you what I would do is I would appeal it somehow, some way. I don't imagine there's competing evidence that says your radiculopathy sciatica is from somewhere else. And it is important, and Kish mentioned it down below, that if you were to file supplemental for radiculopathy, it's really an increase on your back, right? Because you're lower, it's on the same DBQ, it's going to be re-examined. So there's some things, but 20%, you have the diagnosis, I would do it personally. And TBI is neurological. Okay. Thank you for this channel. I'm an older vet learning so much from you. Hey, thank you. Luke's points and miles. I appreciate that. Is my local VSO allowed to print off both DBQ and opinion? No, not really. If they have VBMS access, they can see it. They'll tell you if it's favorable or not. Favorable just means at least as likely or more than likely. But to print off VBMS records would be a no-no. Another super chat, family Crosby. Thank you so much. I don't see your question. Okay. I think I see it now, actually. And you remember. Okay. Thank you. I see it. I'm not gonna show it up here because it's kind of down there. I have a bad service-connected knee, 10% flexion, 10% instability, 20% dislocation, 0% for scar. That's a solid knee rating. Am I obligated to tell the VA just had a knee replacement? Are you obligated? No. Would that warrant a higher rating? Yes. Minimum rating for a knee replacement that was service-connected is 30%. Okay. Now, if you're 100% P&T and you don't care, then sure. But I assume you would care about that, family. Going out for dinner and show with the family, but wanted to stop by, say hello, and give a like. Hey, Marcella, thank you. Congrats on your family time. That's awesome. My family is in Alabama right now, so that's why I'm home alone on a Friday night not doing anything. Congrats and apologies. It's a bittersweet for sure. Hey, nothing to apologize for, dude. That question relates to the Lincoln bill that you were talking about earlier. Oh, hold on, Justin. Let me scroll back up. I have a question, 100% calves disease. That's definitely not. Okay. Gabe, don't understand. 100% IU, service connected 6 years in the Army National Guard. Can't qualify for VA loan because they don't have enough points. Trump or VA directed Collins should change this. For some reason, and I guess it's a David question, David Piatek. I always assumed anyone that was rated at IU would qualify for a VA home loan, regardless of the nature of their service. Don't quote me on that. That's definitely I'm no VA home loan expert at all. But yeah, to be honest with you, I would go to any David Piatek video I have, schedule a meeting with him, and just ask him to his face, and he will be able to help you out. Filed HLR for IBS GERD migraines. Oh, we answered that one. Got it. The VA letter states that the information received does not meet the minimum level of detail needed for VA to seek assistance from JSRRC. My understanding is that the JSRRC no longer exists. What is this in reference to? Mark Leslie? I don't see your previous comment. So something for me to base this off of. But Kish says it's the MRRC is the new one. Did you get my email? How did the tat come out? This is my new tattoo. It hurts. It's the Sword of Gondor. Yeah. You see the Tree of Gondor? Andoril, Flame of the West. Jason. Okay, let me pull up your email because I know you've commented this a few times. What email are you emailing? Because I answered every new email specifically today. There's not a single new email that hasn't been answered. Well, I guess there's one. I don't want to say his name. But you have got to be emailing someone else because it's not me. VA claims at ebvaclaims.com. I'll type that up in the chat. VA claims at ebvaclaims.com. Yeah, this tattoo, dude, it hurt a lot. It really did, especially down here on my wrist area. And it's on the muscle of my arm. And so, like, if you see me shaking my arm, it's because, like, it just hurts, you know? Anyways. My VA doctor will not prescribe my meds because I have an external doctor. 70% service connected over 55. What good is the VA? Okay. So a lot of people talk a lot of baloney on VA healthcare, but I will tell you this from my experience and just talking to other veterans, for the most part, VA healthcare is awesome. All right. And at 70%, your healthcare is free. So what good's the VA? Well, it's free for you. That's a plus. And so maybe it depends on where you're at, right? If you're well off and you prefer private insurance, then go for it. If you're not, like if you're making, I don't know, the nation's average salary, which is like 53 grand, I think, you're going to use VA healthcare, whether you like it or not. So it just depends on where you're at offhand. It's a total personal decision, but I can tell you that VA healthcare, in my opinion, is awesome. That's what kind of shakes me about community care, because I have such a great VA team at the Washington, D.C. VA. I really do. I know it's not the case for everyone, and community care will be clutch for veterans out in the middle of nowhere. So it kind of, we'll just have to wait 2 years and see how community care, what it really looks like. All right. Because right now, everything this administration does is like the greatest thing since sliced bread, and that's how they present it. And on the other hand, everything this administration does, some people that have different beliefs think it's like the devil reincarnate. And you have like these two extremes. And it's like, well, it's definitely not as good as sliced bread, and it's not as bad as that. It's like, how do you discern what's actually good and what's not? So that's kind of where it's hard. Bluffin B, how does your company help file the claim itself? VetCom logs into accounts and submits it. Is that legal? And does EB look at medical records? Okay, that's a great question. First off, if someone's using remote desktop to log into your va.gov, that's illegal. All right. That's not an opinion. That's illegal. But you're having them do it. And so if you feel comfortable with that, then sure, go for it. I would not recommend that. If you need help filing the claim yourself, and I'm going to say this for a specific reason, if you cannot either file your claim on va.gov by yourself or find a VSO to just file your claim, you're an idiot. Straight up, you're an idiot. Okay? And I'll stand on that rock. The issue has never been veterans can't file claims. That's not the issue. The issue is veterans don't know what to file for, and they don't know the evidence required for each claim that they're filing. That's the issue. And so if you simply need help filing the claim, you're wasting your money. There's click-by-click tutorials on YouTube. I've made a few of them. Your dumbest VSO can submit a claim for you. And so there's two options right there. And so what we do at Evidence-Based VA Claims is we sit down with you one-on-one. And just like I answer someone's question here, we go through every possible claim you can submit, and we look at direct, secondary, aggravation, TERA, presumptives, but those are fairly easy, and then MUCMIs, right? We'll look at every theory of service connection. We'll look at your diagnosis, what can be claimed via direct, via secondary, via MUCMI, like whatever it is we're talking about. And then we put the recommended list together with the recommended list of evidence with each claim, and boom, you file your claim. That's what we do. Okay. And I'm telling you right now, I will stand by this. There's no one that does that better than us. So I hope I answered your question. Eric Sullivan, longtime fan of the channel. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. And being a member. Had 4 exams in 1 day. Everything went well. The provider uploaded 3 a week later. Then nothing for 3 weeks. I called the contract and they said they give their providers 30 days. It's been 45 days. Instead of call back 30 more days. I just wait. I mean, you're at their mercy, Eric. I hate to give you that answer, but you're kind of just chilling out there. Tyler, thank you again for donation, the gifted gifts there, memberships. I signed my intent to file December of 24. It was loaded. I think you meant submitted. June 25. Is it poking the bear to do a supplemental claim? So it's just an HLR on the effective date. But I want to tell you something. I'm in a spot, okay? Because 99% of the time, the goal is to be properly rated. That includes effective dates. But you need to understand something. And I don't think everyone gets this picture. This is not a fear-mongering picture here. It's just the truth. When you do a HLR in your claim, it's not a single claim, your entire veteran persona is at the hands of this decision review officer. If they find anything, they're going to do their due diligence, and that may look like a reduction. It may look like something in the process went wrong. They have to re-adjudicate a claim. I mean, you're there. You're not, and once you're there, there's no getting out. Okay. And so should you do an HLR on effective date going back 6 months? I assume that's from 90 to 100. I mean, that's a lot of money. Okay. I would ask you, how solid are your claims? How solid is your evidence? And what does that look like for you? Yep. And Kish brings up a good point. What is the basis of your intent to file? All right. Because if you were diagnosed after, you're not going to win. All right. So there's a few questions there. But being at the mercy of the DRO is something that I would stress. I wouldn't just file and forget if I were you. Okay. That would stress me out. Civ, did the VA offer you migraine headache cooling cap for pain management? No, they didn't. I didn't request it either. I requested GammaCore. I use this thing religiously. Okay, 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening. I'll use it twice tonight before I go to bed. It's great. What I would really like to get the VA to prescribe me are the what is it? Massages, but for the head, whatever that's called. That's what I really want. Scott says, why did my VA claim go to step 5 with new DBQs without scheduling a... I don't know. I don't know how I can answer that. Okay. I need some more context for that one, Scott. CMP mental health examiner was asking me questions about family history, arrests, divorces, that common. Very common, all right? In a mental health CMP exam, I would describe it as like 3 phases, all right? You have the pre-military phase. You have the military phase while you were in. Then you have the post-military phase right now. And so, you know, did your dad beat you and go get a pack of cigarettes and never come back, right? Is there trauma there? Did it exist before service? If it did, now all of a sudden it's an aggravation claim. So there are a few considerations there. But to answer your question, yes, extremely common. Visionary vibes, thank you very much. Appreciate that. I'm hoping to hit 100K here at some point. That would be really, really cool. Grateful that you are educating us veterans and look forward to working with you and your team on my current claims. Hey, we are happy to have you. All right. Sitting at 0% and with your help improving to a rating that I deserve to be at. If you're at 0% of, you should for sure at least shoot us an email. Okay. For sure. Again, that's VA claims at EB. VAclaims.com. And Kish says, Clay, make sure to tell them about requesting the rater to manually upgrade the evaluation if there are any ancillary evidence not part of the rating schedule. Okay. Yes. And okay. Yep. Thanks. Yep. Scott, VA. Okay. Let's find a question here. Bill's bike. I'm at 70%, 10 ankle in 1969. Whoa. I had a CMP around 2012 for pain, and my increase was denied. I had VA pray my ankle last month, and now I have arthritis. Ankles are generally capped at 10. All right. Unless you're talking like the loss of use. That's like almost a guaranteed 10%er there. And so the level of pain may be skyrocket, but it's based on range of motion. And so that might not be something that I would look at personally. What I would do, Bill, is look at your entire claim situation, because you've had these problems for almost twice as long as I've been alive. You might have some secondaries there. Okay. You might want to email us. Eric, if I was rated service connection for non-allergic rhinitis with Terra at 0%, you got connected. That's great. And you'll see the bill. You'll see the criteria from KISS right there at 20 for range of motion. You're connected, which is great. Oh, I see your other one. If I was rated, can I connect this as secondary to sleep apnea? Denied. So I always start secondary discussions by saying anything can be secondary to anything. You just have to have the evidence. I will tell you that rhinitis as the primary isn't really going to translate to obstructive sleep apnea. And I would look at your competing evidence. Like, what evidence do you have? Are you fat? That's a question I want to know, because the VA is going to want to know. Considered fat. What's your BMI, right? Are you obese? Do you have other conditions like anxiety or hypertension or other mental health like depression, PTSD, things like that? I wouldn't put all your eggs in the basket for sleep apnea secondary to rhinitis. Now you do rate Terra. Okay, there is a possibility for sleep apnea to be connected via Terra. It's not common. It does happen. I've seen it happen with early Iraq veterans. When I say early Iraq, I mean like 03-ish time frame. It can happen. All right, you were denied in 2025 though, so I assume you were denied via Terra as well. But I'm not a big fan of sleep apnea secondary to rhinitis, personally, and I'm not a doctor. Okay, Rain Puddle Man, initial claim reported observed sleep apnea. First sleep appointment available in late October. Should I file with the evidence now? So the rating schedule hasn't changed. It's probably not going to change anytime soon. And I wouldn't use that as a factor there. But you have your appointment in late October. I would get the diagnosis and submit the claim. So make sure you have your intent to file ready. Once you're diagnosed, submit the claim. If you're diagnosed, okay. You can submit it now too. That's not a make or break deal. But it would go off the date of your diagnosis anyways. I just joined the conversation. Welcome, Karen. So what happens to those veterans who are compensated under that doctor will be reduced or eliminated? So she's talking about the veteran's guardian allegations. Okay. We have to understand that we are innocent until proven guilty. That includes veteran's guardian. And so if the allegations hold true, which they may not, if they do, it's going down. Okay. Veterans are getting, if whoever's tied to Dr. Villarosa, which I think is his name, whoever's tied to him, severed, those ratings severed. Potential new CMP exams maybe, but I wouldn't bet on that. I would bet on them severing that immediately. Like, because it's fraud. Plain and simple. Now, a big question I have is, although the veteran, let's say a veteran who used them is in that bucket there, because there's a ton, would they be on the hook for fraud? I don't think so. I'm not a lawyer, but I do understand that to commit a crime, there has to be intent. And so if they truly didn't know, I don't think the OIG would pursue that, because it's the OIG we're talking about here. So there's a lack of intent, but I do think those ratings would be severed immediately. Ooh, and Kish, I didn't even think about that, Kish. Kish says OIG is still going to do a full review. Those allegations are too critical to not get their attention. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'll tell you this, if you're a veteran and you know Dr. Villarosa from Veterans Guardian hooked you up with a DBQ and Next Letter for mental health secondary to chronic pain, I would be I mean, there's nothing you can do, I guess. So thanks for helping all of us. Dave Quint, thank you for being a member. I appreciate that. We answered that one. File sleep apnea. Raider After Dark did. Oh, yep. Is for back pay, not securing the old rating. It would depend on the date of the diagnosis there. And then you see guidance. Anytime there's a change, you will see guidance in the M21 TAC 1 specific to those ratings, and GERD IBS is a good example of that. All right, Travis Bond. Question: service connected torn left ACL. That sucks. And meniscus. Tried claiming back to right knee 10 years ago, but had no clue what I was doing. Filing again, but now BMI is 38. Chances CMP exams, claims. That's the issue. I can't tell you, like, the answer is what are the chances of the CMP examiner looking at obesity as the cause. I don't know about that, but depending on, I would look at getting your obesity recognized by the VA at least for service connection. That would open up the door a lot. But you're looking at, what is it, a lower, tried claiming my back, yeah, your lower spine to a knee. I'm not the biggest fan of musculoskeletal secondary to other musculoskeletal. Not saying it's impossible. It's definitely possible. It's just not as common as YouTube makes it out to be. So I can't answer what are the chances of the obesity thing, but I would look at getting your obesity recognized and using that as kind of a stepping stone there. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Civ, I recently filed a claim for hypertension secondary to PTSD and Tara. Okay. The VA examiner conducted an ACE exam. That's A-okay, especially for hypertension secondary. The VA's doctor gave me a thumbs up for both connections. This is good news. Okay. I know there's more to this question here. I'm trying to find it. The rater only addressed PTSD connections and never mentioned Tara. I mean, your hypertension's connected. It doesn't matter. You have the evidence to rate a Tara exam anyways, and so the evidence is there. The exposure for other conditions is there, if you will. That's not an issue. It doesn't matter. Choose my words carefully here. Once your service connected, it doesn't matter how. How has no input on the rating itself. Okay, so if it's secondary, if it's Tara, your rating is going to be your rating due to symptoms, not due to the basis of connection. Okay, and for hypertension, we're looking at 0%. Probably, if not, you're on the verge of dying. That sucks. But if you have a diuretic, there's another secondary there that I would look at for urinary frequency. Dave Quint, I'm at 60% after my third spine surgery 4 years ago. About to put in for depression, IBS, plantar fasciitis, bilateral, urinary frequency. We just talked about that. I was formerly clueless, no more clued in. I don't know what your question is, Dave. Let me scroll down to find it. Oh, any input. I mean, that's a broad question there. Here's my input. I don't care what claim it is or what the basis of connection is. What I care about is what is your evidence for how you're claiming it. All right, so you're about to put in for depression. I'm going to assume this mental health right here, depression, is secondary to whatever you got going on here. So we're looking at depression, secondary to chronic pain. Very common, by the way. Just ask Veterans Guardian. Very, very common claim to submit. Okay, and it's a common secondary as well, especially for 3 spinal surgeries. That happened a while ago, right? So there's some time there. I assume you have so evidence for depression would look like a diagnosis. That's duh. More importantly is, does your mental health stem from your chronic pain, and what's your evidence for that, right? And whatever I just said for depression, for the basis of connection, which was secondary, and then I referenced evidence, that's the same for every claim. Doesn't matter what the connection is. It matters what the evidence is and what you have. That's it. That's the only thing that matters. Okay. So that would be my input, is look at your evidence for each service connection, and then your evidence will tell you how to submit your claim. So if you have medical evidence from service of mental health, then you know it's direct. Direct is always easier, by the way. Okay, Palos Rivera, thank you for being a member. I appreciate that. Sherry, I see your time estimate. I can't. There's no one on the planet can answer time questions. I'm sorry. I get why aggravation need it, but if we have history of treatment for anything in service, why are Nexus letters needed for service connection? I think we are using the word aggravation differently. Okay, so there's aggravation, meaning the condition existed prior to service. It was there, like flat feet, asymptomatic flat feet. You had military service, that made the condition worse. Therefore, it's an aggravation connection. Versus my tinnitus is aggravating my migraines, right? Totally different there, looking at secondary. You have aggravation needed, but why are Nexus letters needed for service connection? First off, Nexus letter, I totally missed that part of the question. Nexus letters are not needed. You do not need a Nexus letter for 99% of claims, okay? Especially direct. The only time I would say you need one for direct is when your evidence from service doesn't really match up with your current diagnosis, and the C&P examiner has deemed that as so. You've been denied. Now you need a Nexus from a doctor who doesn't suck to kind of override the C&P examiner. That's like the only need Nexus for direct. But if we're talking about direct claims here, you don't need a Nexus letter. Secondaries get a little, I start to consider a Nexus letter more so in secondaries personally. But for direct, and if you have evidence directly from service, that's an easy claim. Okay. I saw an ad on TikTok from a certain claim company that said evidence from service doesn't effing matter. This is wrong. Just objectively incorrect. Okay. Let's get Jay Dawson. Prescribed CPAP Nexus to weight gain for not sleeping well and being able to work out. Obesity is a very strong connection to sleep apnea. Same thing with like hypertension. If you have obesity recognized, like obesity is, that gold mine type of claim where you can start connecting things to it. Okay. I'm currently at 40% for my back. It's in terrible shape. My primary care provider suggests me going to physical therapy. If there are any signs of improvement, would my 40% rating be decreased? No, not necessarily. And your back doesn't, your back's not going to heal, okay? Physical therapy for like a lower spine, and again, I'm no doctor, but it would look like you strengthening your glutes and your hamstrings to kind of relieve the pressure so you can live your life with less pain. It's not healing your back by any means, okay? And so that's what physical therapy for your back looks like. There's no magic machine to, bibbity bobbity boop, your lumbar spine's now healed. Doesn't work that, especially at 40%. All right. I assume you have like IVDS or something like that. Oh, we answered that one. Let me come back to you, John Pepper. We have a super chat here. Thank you very much, Rainbow Poopy Butt 6. I'm so glad you changed your name to that. That's hilarious. Thank you for being a member. Reminder about ID.me change. Yes, ID.me, the secure login, all that's going down. It was supposed to change a while ago, but now it's really, really going into effect. So that's a good reminder. Thank you. Got denied earlier this week for plantar fasciitis. First and second denials were because they didn't see it in my records. Third time they conceded, diagnosed in service, but no treatment from 04 to 22. You're looking at continuity of symptoms. That's a real thing, and it's hard to combat. Okay. What I would do, John, first, I would like to see that decision letter myself. Okay. Especially if the first and second times you were denied was for no evidence from service, and then all of a sudden there is evidence from service. I'm questioning that. I'm also questioning when you submitted the first claim, right? Because that could be continuity right there. So I have a lot of questions on this one, John. But continuity of symptoms does matter. You have the option of a statement there to kind of fill that gap. So all continuity of symptoms means is there's a gap. Your gap is from 04 to 2022. What happened between there? Okay, can you provide a statement of that? Medical records would be the best. Okay. I'm going to try something really quick. I don't know what's going to happen. Okay. So if you're watching this live, let me know what happens. Okay. Let me know what happened if you watched it live. All right. Let's go to, we have a commercial. That's funny. Okay. There's a new YouTube is rolling out updates for live stuff, so I'm just kind of looking at it. Okay, super sticker by DK Guns. I see the fox. I don't like how StreamYard can't do the super sticker. It makes me upset. But thank you very much for that, DK Guns, and for being a member, dude. I definitely appreciate that. All right. YouTube is rolling out at some point live react. So, for instance, let's say I go live, or Jason from Veterans Info Tap goes live, or Raider HQ After Dark goes live. I'm supposed to be able to live react to their live, right? Don't know how what that's going to look like, but I'm excited for it because I'm totally going to do it. And, maybe not for Raider HQ because he knows what he's talking about, but maybe some other creators, I can just hop on their live and just give better answers, I guess, would be the thing. Anyway, thank you for your honest answers. Hey, thank you for being a member. Appreciate that. This old goat here. Where's my drink? No. I'm having a CMP exam for my knees next week. Though I did not seek treatment for this issue while active in the Navy on PT boats, I did mention it on my post-deployment health assessment advice. Okay, you contradicted yourself. Post-deployment health assessments are amazing. When it comes to medical evidence for Navy and Marine Corps, that PDHA is like the golden ticket. I'm serious. Whatever you have up there, and if you have a current chronic diagnosis, as long as we're not talking about a huge time gap from when you left service to right now, it's an easy claim, okay? Especially direct. Direct claim all day, every day. PDHAs are the only reason why I'm rated how I'm rated is because of PDHAs. Okay, let's just say that. All right, I had CMP yesterday for mental health. I feel like you and Jay helped out a lot. Thanks. Hey, Dan Hill. I'm glad we helped you in your process. I hope you get the rating that you deserve there. Yes, 94% new exam in my favor. Okay, that's great news, Bobby D's. Depending on the outcome of those, and you had 4 claims that were difference of opinion there. If you're 100%, great. I mean, I'm sure you'll let me know for sure. If not, reach out to me and I'll hook you up with a free one-on-one. All right, you've been a long time fan of the channel. You sent me the sick Darth Maul that my kids have abused and took an eye out, which is funny because he loses his legs, but okay. Is mental health secondary to services? Connected sleep apnea, good route to go? So I think you're saying mental health secondary to sleep apnea. Mental health is generally speaking a direct service claim. You see mental health secondary to chronic pain a lot. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a doctor or psychiatrist, so this isn't my medical opinion. All I'm going to say is I have never seen mental health connected secondary that wasn't chronic pain. I'll say it like that. Okay. Now, if you mean sleep apnea secondary to mental health and it just came out weird here, very common. Okay. See, that's the most common secondary for sleep apnea too. But the inverse, no, I don't think so. And to answer your second question, every claim needs a nexus, whether it's medical in nature or presumptive in nature. That does not mean it's a nexus letter there. So little nuance. That's why I like to say independent medical opinion or IMO to try and separate nexus from nexus letter. I like to say independent medical opinion, but everyone else is saying nexus letter, so it's hard to differentiate the two. All right, we have another super chat. Thank you everyone, the memberships, the super chats. It's been a really good stream. I appreciate it. My family appreciates it. All right. So Mike 1970, thank you for being a member. Okay. 40% for foot drop with loss of use. Yeah, that sucks. Absolutely sucks. Denied the special adapted housing grant. Awarded auto grant. Rater said I didn't qualify for SAH. VA website says I qualify with loss of 1 foot after. So when issues like this, because I know you have a high rating overall, lawyer would be my recommendation. Okay, you're unless you have an amazing VSO, and there are a few out there, lawyer would be what I would do personally. And also, thank you for your service, Mike. You know, we talk about VA disability. My wife texted me. Hold on. when we talk about VA disability, I mean, this is what capital D here, you know, that's what we're talking about. So thank you for your service. Thank you for what you do. Hey, Bluffin, thanks. How does your company, we answered that one pretty upfront. Let's look at Family Crosby. Thank you for being a member. I have a bad, we answered that one. Okay, so replacement is a minimum 30% rating. The VA would also grant you the highest. I'm sure Kish has a comment in there somewhere about the differences of the knee replacement diagnostic code and all your other diagnostic codes. Okay, but you have a pretty solid rating for your knee. If you're 100% P&T, I wouldn't even sweat it. So TBI is physical, MDD is mental. How can VBA mix the two and give one rating? So TBI is not physical, okay? It's neurological, if anything. But the symptoms are very similar, like memory loss. You'll see memory loss right there with at 70%, okay? You'll see spatial disorientation, which I think is the verbiage they use at 70%. And so it's very commonly linked together. It's when your TBI residual symptoms are not mental health symptoms is when the rating is parsed out. And usually that's a pretty low TBI rating, right? Usually. I had one veteran, bless his heart, dude, 100% rating for PTSD and 100% rating for TBI. And it was like nuts. He had SMCT there. The bad news bears. Okay. These Q&As show vets still fighting, now with paperwork and silence. The courage here is transformational. Subscribe for the community. Hey, Visionary, appreciate that. Thank you. I've read the decision letter several times. I have some symptoms that fall under the 70%. I assume we're talking about mental health here. I say that because the bullets match almost exactly. I can't type it all here. I'm able to contact you, maybe. You can send us an email. You're going to get a templated response, and if you want to use our service, you can. And we would look at this particular situation, but we would also look at your entire claim situation to make sure you're properly rated there. So. Eric Sullivan, we answered that question for you. I will change my battery. Hold on. It's just me here tonight, so we'll do a little bit longer stream. And I am here by myself. I have no kids in my house or anything. And I'm going to DoorDash me a milkshake. Something you should know about me is I love milkshakes and I love chocolate. Let me DoorDash this and then we'll get back to answering questions. All right. Where should I get a milkshake from? If I get Chick-fil-A milkshake, I can get a cookie too. I know, dude. Listen, I've had this camera since I started. They don't make it anymore. So the AC adapter, like a power cord for the battery, they don't make it anymore. So I just use 2 batteries. The camera's a great camera. It's I don't know. I'm not a camera tech dude, but it's a DSLR. It's a great camera, great picture, obviously. Okay, let me get this chocolate milkshake ready and cookie. Just taking forever, dude. Okay, I want some fries too. Yeah, that's going to be my, okay, fries, chocolate milkshake, no cherry, cookie crumbles, and chocolate chunk cookie. They have a 6 count, but I'm just going to get the one. Okay, let me order this. And we can get back to answering questions here. Apple Pay. It's too convenient to pay for things these days. It's like consumer America. Okay. Milkshake, chocolate chip cookie, and French fries are on the way. All right, let's get to answering some questions here. Sorry. We did answer Mike's. Yeah, we answered that one. Okay. Eric Sullivan, we answered that one. Increased to 80% today, up from combined 72 more claims pending for potential hundo. Rudy Perez, congrats to you. Okay. Every rating, once you hit that the high 80s, like 85, 86, every single rating matters. Every single one. I'm not a big fan of veterans who submit, this claim because they really care about it when there's others on the table. It just makes no sense, man. Makes no sense. All right. Power of attorneys allows print off of DBQ. No. So I assume you mean VSOs here, and I want to be clear. The VSO who has a VSO, an accredited service officer, I should say, with VBMS access, they can let you know if your exams are favorable, and they'll say that too, and that just means, hey, you had a favorable exam, which means at least it's likely. But there is no printing off documents from VBMS, and if a VSO is doing that, I mean, that's good for you. I would totally keep that on the down low. I know some do. Most do not. They're not allowed to. Okay. Where can I learn about the appeals process for VR&E claims? I'm having a lot of issues with VR&E. I had a dude on here, live stream, who used VR&E for med school, was denied. He used an attorney. This attorney specializes in VR&E. He has a big presence on Facebook. I forgot his name. I think it's Tyler Kraus, or if you search VR&E on Facebook, you're going to find a group where there's an attorney that runs it. That's who he used for VR&E appeals. I'm not saying you have to do that, but dude got approved for med school, so that's a big deal. And also, there's legislation to give more oversight to VR&E, and so if you're going to do that, like, I think now would be a good time. To continue my previous comment, just a reminder not to be a tough guy or girl. I'll see the doc as soon as possible. Absolutely. Healthcare equals evidence. Is this where I can post a question? It is, Ray. You could have posted it here. And I go in order of the questions, unless someone has a chat or something. All right. Oh, what is the COLA prediction? Last I checked, it was like 2.6. I know there's been a few COLA. I try to do one COLA video pre-October and then one mid-October once it's final. I really hate those videos, to be honest with you. I know a lot of other people like to make them. So I don't know the answer off the top of my head. I'll let you know mid-October, but 2.6, I think, was the last time I checked. I filed a Freedom of Information Act online to get copies of all my CMP exam and DBQs. Took about a month. You'll get a download link. Awesome. Awesome. It's supposed to be a lot easier with EHR. Also, S Trent. Thank you for last stream. I appreciate that. I am trying to find, okay. Denied sleep apnea twice. Andy, I'll definitely get to you. Should I appeal and file for hypersomnolence instead? I have a history and diagnosis. If you have a diagnosis of the condition, do you submit for it? Yes. There's a follow-on question there is what's your evidence? And if you have if you have history and diagnosis and it's from service, go for it. I don't think that's the case because of what we're talking about. But with the information provided here, you're looking at denied sleep apnea, hypersomnolence, diagnosis history. If it's from service, go for it. If it's not from service, that's a hard one. You might want to email us, vaclaims@ebvaclaims.com. Okay, let's go to Dr. Andy. Hi, hello. I submitted 3 private DBQs and the VA requested CMP exams for 2 of them. I spoke with my VSO to find out why, and notes say doesn't need to be present for exam. What's my next move? So it sounds like ACE. You don't. I hate that you donated for this question because it's you don't really have a next move. You're just waiting. Like you're at the mercy of the VA there. There's almost never would I recommend not attending an exam that you're scheduled for. Obviously, you're not. And these are ACEs. And so I'm trying to just make up a better answer because you donated. But what's my next move is there is none. You just kind of have to hurry up and wait. And that's the stage you're in right now. You have 3 private DBQs. I would want to know what you're claiming. Maybe I can give you more. Yeah, I'd want to know what you're claiming specifically. What Kish says, for the private DBQs, that's not a sufficiency review note. And in your claim, so the sufficiency review was not accurately performed. Right, and I have a ton of questions regarding private DBQs to begin with. So you're in the hurry up and wait phase. Michelle Pate. I was awarded 100% P&T recently. Hold on. Congrats to you. Should I file HLR for 0%? My records justify at least 10. Also, should I file an appeal for denials, lumbar? For conditions like lumbar spine, sleep apnea, and shoulder, you're 100% P&T. You have a 0% rating. I assume you're talking about like hypertension or hearing loss. The technical answer is you should be properly rated. The real answer is I'm going to say no. Unless you're looking at SMCs for those conditions, which I assume is a no, there's no reason to be connected for those. No reason at all. We have a celebrity join in the chat, Concise Psych. That's Dr. Sharma. You can check out his YouTube channel. Okay, he has great, really good veteran content there around psychiatry. Concise Psych. I'll link this down below in the chat for you, but this is Dr. Sharma's personal channel. He does good work. Concise psych. Psh. Okay. I hope that answered your question, dude. And whoa, we have a big one. Flavor Flav. Hilarious name. Thank you very much. I always feel weird when this happens, especially when they're big. I don't know what to do. Shake and fries on me, dude. That's a very expensive shake and fries. Seriously, man, thank you. Your videos took me from 0 to 90 in a year. Thanks, Clay. Hey, congrats, dude. 90 is a big percentage. I would also look at, I would wonder if you're properly rated. Now, if you are properly rated and there's no wiggle room, then 90% is not 90%. But I would look at if you're properly rated. All right. People who say don't poke the bear, I would argue that's for 100% only and up. And so maybe you reach out to us. All right. VA claims at ebvaclaims.com. Maybe we can give you some help. Maybe not. Okay. But I'm curious if you're properly rated. Now, if that 90 is like an 85%, that's a much bigger hill to climb than, say, 92%. All right, so it just depends on the nature of that 90. But congrats to you, man. And thank you for the donation. I definitely appreciate that. Okay, Ray Mario. I just filed... in April, and I'm going for PTSD due to a friendly fire by another unit. When we was doing training. Hold on. Anyways, my VSO labeled as PTSD combat, but I've been watching videos. It's under non. Okay, so first off, I just did a video. I'll link it for you, actually. And I talk about the diagnostic code for the VA. So let me link that for you. And then no combat needed, non-combat related PTSD. So let me copy this, okay? So first off, I'm speaking from a VBA perspective only here, okay? I don't care if it's combat-related PTSD, non-combat related, life-threatening, unspecified structure disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, MDD. I don't care. It's all rated the same, okay? So sometimes as veterans, we get so focused on the diagnostic code when it doesn't, it's irrelevant. The only time it does matter is how the VA goes about that claim, okay? And so looking at a non-combat related PTSD claim, you're looking at stressors, friendly fire, that's going to be documented for sure, okay? And so that's what matters. That video will explain that. And as far as is it combat or non-combat, it doesn't matter. It's not like, well, this veteran filed a combat PTSD claim, but it's no combat, so denied. That's not how it works. The VA doesn't have the expectation that the veteran is going to submit the perfect claim. No, you're fine. JSR, okay. Sending records VBA. This was in reference to VA's duty to assist. Yep. And it's the MRRC. We answered that one. Okay. I just sent you an email today, and then I see you're live. Wow, thank you for all you do. Okay. I hope I... Oh, I got some emails to attend to. Hey, that guy who said he's emailed me, I just got his email. I don't think he emailed me the right one. Anyways, yes, email me. If you need help with your claim, it's a claim service, okay? Evidence-based VA claims. We do no baloney over here. VA claims at ebvaclaims.com. Email us or don't. That's fine. Let's see. I want my dang milkshake to be here. That's what I want. VA has good service, but not all doctors are adequate for servicing veterans. Yeah, sometimes not every VA is the same. Okay, for sure. So my good experience, I should have said that too. My good experience with VA in Washington, D.C. doesn't invalidate someone's poor experience. All right, we have Tyler, another 5 memberships. Dude, slow your roll here. You gifted 5 memberships earlier. You have a super chat for $50 donations and then 5 more memberships. Dude, thank you very much. So happy that you, we were a part of your 100% P&T process there. So thank you for that. My family thanks you. And I hope that rating that you have helps relieve some of that financial stress in your life. Don't forget about your state benefits, okay? But the gifted memberships, they're all random, by the way. We have Gene Seminole Ranger, Next Level Cash, longtime fan of the channel. Just got a membership. Camoy Dan, Away, Stork Away, and Chris Klein. So to everyone, join the Discord. To those 5, make sure you link your YouTube accounts to Discord to get a month of Q&A access there. The administration sucks, hurting our services. Yeah, it depends on. So I wouldn't make. Here's the thing. I said this earlier. The administration, all the changes they do, they're like presenting it as if it's like the best thing since sliced bread. And then their opponents, everything this administration do is, this is the worst. This is hell. This is the worst thing ever. And so they're like 2 extremes, and it doesn't matter what topic we're talking about. This is VA stuff. And so it's hard to like discern what veteran healthcare is going to look like in the community. I think we have to give it a year, this time next year. So we'll let a whole fiscal year go. I think we'll be able to say, hey, this sucks, or hey, it's good. But it's hard to tell right now. I'm trying to look for the next question here. How long do I have to wait after being diagnosed? You don't. In fact, the technical answer is you can submit a claim whenever you want, even pre-diagnosis. I wouldn't recommend that. At least have your intent to file. I'm a big fan of submitting your claim with your diagnosis. But there are some claims like sleep apnea would be a good one where you have to wait for a sleep study. You could file the claim now. But yes, you don't. The second you're diagnosed, you can submit your claim if you're waiting for a diagnosis. Okay. Let me look for a question here. That's not true, Fire Ice. Submittals don't stop your claims. You just keep on rolling. Maybe back in the day. When I say back in the day, I mean like way back in the day. I'm trying to find a question for some reason. Oh. Robert E. Tyler Collier Jr. Hey, Clay, it's Mr. Long Name here again. No worries, dude. No worries at all. It says, so explain exactly what the percentage of Q claims being won. I don't have that data in front of me, but I can tell you that usually speaking, if you identify a Q, it's with a lawyer. And if an attorney identifies a Q, they believe they can win. Okay. But Qs aren't as common as people say they are at all. They're quite rare. And to win one is definitely not the easiest. Visionary Vibes says, congrats on reaching 70,000 plus subscribers. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm trying to hit 100. That'd be nice. Okay, let me get, we have a super chat here. Jarhead Tack 1, what's up? Thank you very much. I appreciate it. My wife definitely appreciates it. Okay. OIF 04, thank you for your service. That's early Iraq there. Diagnosed in service with combat PTSD and depression. Sent to Navy Psych for a year. EAS in 05, was denied both. In 23, submitted same evidence, awarded PNT. I was going to say, I'm very surprised you were denied first go around. I'm so glad you're rated now. Okay. I'm so happy for that. 2, is there a potential Q? Maybe. Okay. I want to say, whenever, what is it? I'm trying to say it correctly. It's like fear-based. Man, Kish would know. Fear-based claims. There's like a almost like a presumptive there. I can't remember. Anyways, what I would do, Jarhead, is I would lawyer up. If you're looking at your 100% PNT, your SMCS, that's one reason to lawyer up, is to keep that. And 2, I'm surprised you were denied in the first place. Okay, I need to do it's all in black and white. Yeah, I would lawyer up, dude. That's what if I were you, I would genuinely lawyer up. And I'm going to do a fear-based video here soon just so I can kind of re-up myself on it. It's been a while since I read that. But yeah, congrats. I'm glad you re-tackled that because that's insane. But I would lawyer up with 100% PNT and SMCS. It's going for a Q. Lawyering up is the right answer, at least in my opinion. Got denied for migraine and submitted HLR. Wish me luck. Hey, wishing you all the luck. Evidence wins. Nothing else. I want everyone to know that my chocolate shake and cookie is on its way. Can I use a CMP favorable finding decision with new medical evidence and resubmit? No, because it's not new. It's the outcome. It was your evidence to begin with, right? So if you're diagnosed, that would be a favorable finding. If you have evidence from service, that would be a favorable finding, and none of that is new. Cards fan. I hope you don't mean Louisville Cardinals. Maybe St. Louis. Hey Clay, I'm at step 7 with my claim. Appreciate all your support. Hey, thank you. I'm happy to be a part of your claim journey. We answered that. Yes. That's the knee thing there. Okay. Z says, how likely is to get approved to link my service-connected back pain to my hip and knee pain? Both are diagnosed but not service-connected. You have back, you have lower spine service-connected, and you want to do hip and knees secondary. So, first off, my opinion, musculoskeletal secondaries to other musculoskeletal secondaries, big words there, are not easy. Okay? Not easy at all. I'm also curious as to if you have events in service that led to your back pain. Maybe depending on the weight of that, if that could be used for hip direct, maybe. I'm kind of reaching there, and I'm making assumptions, by the way. But to answer your question, is it possible? Yes. Is it a difficult claim? Also yes. Also yes. Yeah, Tyler. Thank you, dude. Appreciate it. I've been granted sleep apnea to my already approved sinusitis and rhinitis 8. Congrats to you. Awesome. I'm on step 7. How far do you think my final decision is? No one can answer that ever. Yep, thank you. Appreciate it. I refuse to watch Combat Craig videos. That's well, we know he's not uploading. Let's just say that. He isn't doing the uploading. I had a migraine eval, and the CMP examiner told me why I was going to not get my rating. It's literally a single freaking word. Generally speaking, CMP examiners are outright in saying you're not going to get a favorable Nexus. I'm curious something's happening here, obviously. I would want to know what, I have a ton of questions. I don't know what to say. My VSO put my PTSD as combat. Oh, we answered that one. Don't worry about it. Darlene Terry, denied across the board for GAD, MDD, hypothyroidism, post due to thyroid cancer, was diagnosed with Graves' disease while in service, National Guard after years, active duty, in service, PTSD, and ST. That is something you should email us about, because we're going to need decision letters, redacted decision letters for sure. Okay, so if you want help, shoot us an email or not, that's fine. VA claims at ebvaclaims.com. But that's a handful. I only have medical documentation for right hip in service. Can my left hip still be service connected by examiner? Yes, absolutely. Okay. Trent, it's because he passed away. And there's a back end story on I'm not even going to go into it. I'm sure people in the chat could express why they aren't watching his videos anymore. Because it's not him. Yeah, Kish, no worries. These are never a requirement, don't worry. We have a super chat. Let me just mark my spot. Okay. Hunter Evans, thank you very much. I don't see a chat from you. What I would like you to do, if you have a question, is dump it in the chat now. I have the live chat up here, and so I'll see it. But thank you for that. I definitely appreciate it. Also, give me 1 minute. I'm going to go upstairs and get my dang chocolate shake. I'll be right back, okay? And we will resume with answering questions. We will answer VicMad first. So be right back. Okay. Let that melt a little bit. Get another. Oh, here it is. Okay, here we go. Random facts for Borden. Thank you very much for that. 99 cents. I appreciate it. Hunter Evans. Let me answer Hunter Evans real quick, and I'll get to you, Vic Man. Hunter Evans says, I'm diagnosed with skin cancer and deployed to Kuwait in 22. Can I claim that as presumptive, or is there more involved with that? I would submit the claim. Presumptive, maybe not so much. Maybe looking at exposure, like what kind of skin cancer are we talking about? But should you submit the claim? I think so, yes. The answer is yes there. And I would really look at your exposure evidence. I really just want to fry right now. Okay, we'll do Vic Man, and then we'll come back to this super chat here. Can you ask the examiner how they fill out the DBQ, and what is their opinion? You can ask them for sure. I don't think most of them won't tell you. Okay. In fact, they'll probably take offense towards it. But sure, you can ask. All right. You can absolutely ask. And Sherry Sanford, you are up next here. TC, what about shoulder secondary to cervical radiculopathy? Shoulder? What kind of shoulder we're talking about? Is it like arthritis? Is it shoulder strain? Okay, and my follow-on question is, whatever it is, how is the nerve damage in your arms from your neck leading to that condition? All right. Sherry, nope. No one on this planet can give you time estimates that are worth anything. I'm going to give you one. It's going to be 3 months, but you should know I'm pulling that out of nowhere. How long does CMP examiner have to submit a report? 30 days-ish is the standard, but it can be plus minus. All right, got freedom. Thank you, veteran. Amen. VA conceded service connected for cancer and IBS. They still deny my claim, stating that it's not service connected. I think you mean they conceded Terra, that you rate a Terra exam, but that the exposure isn't related to those conditions. What I would recommend, it depends on your evidence. I can tell you right now, a Terra exam denial and appeal based on exposure is not easy. I would recommend a Nexus letter, and I hate saying that. But based on this comment and this comment alone, that's what I would do. Thanks, Clay. I try and tell local vets to stay away from these scamming doctors. We have 2 locally, and at least twice a week I hear a vet got scammed out of $5K. There are some Nexus letter providers that are awesome, and some that aren't. We'll just say that. April 25, 0% decision letter today, 100% PNT. Look at that. Hold on. We got something for you. Congrats. All right. Just watch your videos and others on YouTube. Anyone can do this. Stand and fight. Yes, that's what they're for. That's what they're for. I find it hilarious when people will talk crap on evidence-based VA claims, which people can. It's fine. And they forget the 800 plus videos of do it yourself, just on this channel alone, not to mention everyone else's. So, what is aid and attendance requirement for SMC? You're mixing two different things. Okay, there's aid and attendance, and then there's L. Once you start into what I call real SMCs, you'll find that the others come pretty easily. But you'll find, if you just Google it on va.gov, you'll find needs help with daily activities. If I have a lawyer working on my claims, can I contact the VA about where I stand? I'm still on step 2. Yeah. All an attorney or a claims agent or even a accredited VSO, all that means is it gives them permission to act on your behalf. That's it. You can still act on your own behalf. You can call the VA. Now, I would just ask your attorney first. They're going to be able to give you probably a better answer. But if you don't want to, you can call the VA. I'm trying to eat my fries here and talk. It's not really working out. How difficult is it to connect your ankles to your knees, hips, back in the kinetic chain? Any musculoskeletal condition secondary to any other musculoskeletal condition is not easy. It's difficult. How difficult? I think it depends on your situation, how severe we're talking about, right? So if you have double knee replacements at 30% each, that's a lot different than having knee strain at 10% each, right? A lot different. All right. Rudy Perez says, like this video, support CivDiv. Absolutely. Appreciate that. Thank you. Ken Kozak. 1982 in-service event, bad jump and high winds. Okay, wings mean something. No feelings in my legs for 3 hours. Sent to the hospital, 2 weeks on bed rest. When I had my first migraine and neck pain began. Now I'm 20% for back. How to tie? Well, I assume you're, first, I'm assuming your back is a little bit worse than 20%. I'm also assuming you'd have some sciatica nerve damage in there. So I'd probably do an increase on your back. 2, I want to know if your migraines and neck pain were documented in service. Okay. If so, submit the claims. And you have wings. Wings matter because you have your, I would call them pseudo presumptives, but you're going to have an easier time getting like your knees, shoulders, your cervical connected. And so I would submit the claim. I think you have more evidence than what you probably believe. Well, I would go about your cervical strain. If you get your cervical spine connected, that would be a pretty solid secondary, migraine secondary to cervical. Yeah, but you have wings though. You have wings, and I think it's at least what I think you have more evidence than what you probably believe, especially because it happened so long ago, and you got jump wings, and that matters. And I would simply submit the claims. That's what I would do. I would also submit migraines direct too, just because. But with the assumption that it'll be denied and you'll have to go migraine secondary to cervical, assuming your cervical spine is connected. All right. Thanks, Clay, for all you do and continue to do. Hey, thank you. Appreciate that. Who's that? Grief 2G. If I was denied due to spina bifida in 88, there's a, man, Sherry, you got to email me on that one. That's a big one there. I have a ton of questions. It's also a long time ago, and you were denied due to that. That's some weird wording there. I would like to see the redacted decision letter. So that's a big one. No worries, Kim. I would submit the claims and let it ride. I need to do a video on jump wing stuff, right? Because how the Army does it, if you're in the 82nd, no matter what your MOS is, you're going to have wings. And so that, I think that affects a lot of people. Give me 1 minute. I'm going to crush these fries and then I can talk. I sure do. Okay, we're back with my chocolate milkshake this time. Okay, we dropped some people. I guess people don't like seeing me eat. Understandable. No big deal. Let's get more questions. There's not too many questions left. I'm rated at 20%. Hold on. Do you delete comments in your videos when they are more personal, like Clay, your family's a beep, 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 then yes. Other than that, no. But you should know that YouTube has their own moderation and they are extremely quick. So as long as you don't talk about me or my family, really, I don't delete. I'm rated 20% left shoulder, 10% tinnitus. I don't have any in-service medical records about my lower back, but I've had problems with it for many years. I want to claim it secondary to shoulder. I'm going to ask you one question. What is your evidence that would lead an examiner to believe that your shoulder has caused your lower spine injury? You answer that, I think you'll answer your question. We have a super chat here Thank you very much, Polar Bear 65. Chick-fil-A cookies are so good. Okay. If one must have a CMP exam, how far out calendar-wise can it be scheduled? Not much. Once that exam is ordered, you'll likely see it very fast. I've had exams. I was notified of exams on Friday, had the exam on Monday. And that seems to be pretty common. I would say 2-3 weeks at most, and anything other than that is like an outlier. So if you're overseas, depending on where we're talking about, you can have exams overseas. So it just depends on what overseas are we talking about. Just got a letter that I'm 100% P&T. Hey, congrats to you. Awesome. Took me about a year and a month to get it from 70 to 100. No help from VSO or Nexus letter. Paid $0 to get here. Your channel helped a lot. That's exactly what this channel is built for. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm glad to have helped you on your process there. I got denied for vertigo secondary to tinnitus. So, fun fact here. Vertigo secondary is a really bad claim because it's not going to raise your percentage. So, for instance, let's just say it was connected. You would have tinnitus with vertigo at 10%. It's capped. When vertigo is a secondary, unless we're talking about neurological stuff like TBI, when vertigo is a secondary, it doesn't do anything. It's kind of like insomnia secondary. It has to be direct to have its own rating. It's for PVD, peripheral vestibular disorders. Hilarious. Okay, you're in Southeast Asia. I'm going to assume you're in the Philippines. If that's the case, there's the VA right there. They have capability to do some CMP exams, okay? If you're not in the Philippines, you're in like Thailand. I'm thinking of like veteran-centric places. I don't think Thailand can. Karen says, what about obesity secondary to chronic fatigue? Meds made me gain weight. Major brain fog. Yes. If you have medication that is directly linked to weight gain, and you're taking that medication for something that's service connected, like CFS, then it's very easy to get recognized, right? I'm saying recognized because it's really an intermediate step that your obesity is service connected. And then you can use that as a stepping stone for sleep apnea, for hypertension. Like obesity leads to obesity. Being obese is really unhealthy, and it's going to lead to a lot of conditions, okay? Min Win says, I'm filing for GERD, and I also have Barrett's esophagus. That sucks. Those are rated the same. I would just file all of them. File all. Let the VA do what the VA does, okay? Sometimes we step into the adjudication process ourselves. No reason to do that. Let it be. We have a super chat. Okay, let me mark my spot right here. Super chat for 752. Thank you for being a member, Mike G. Travel Poker. I appreciate that. Says, what is more favorable, a 5242 degenerative DGA or 5237 lumbar strain. It doesn't matter, okay? And I'll show you why. Let me pull up my handy dandy Google here. 38 CFR, ECFR, lumbar, because it's musculoskeletal. Okay, so let's just, I'm hitting Control F here, teaching you how to fish. 5242. You scroll up. The spine, okay? General rating formula. The reason it doesn't matter is because it's all the same, okay? And so you could have all of these, or your 5237 is what you're talking about, or DA right here. Doesn't matter. It's going to be based on the general rating formula. And so one's not more favorable than the other. The question is this. How far can you bend forward or bend backwards or side to side? That's it. So you could have both. You could have one or the other. It doesn't matter. What matters is this part right here. Bending forward and then standing straight up. Lateral flexion, and then rotation, right? That's the only thing that matters. So I hope that answers your question. The question is, it doesn't matter. I hope you like that answer. Okay, LGS Inc., $10 super chat. I appreciate that. PTSD at 70, back at 40. It's a high back rating. CDSL at 20. R, 10% radiculopathy, sciatica, left lower extremity, 1010. I assume that's what that means. 10, bilateral plantar fasciitis. They keep denying hypertension, sleep apnea, stuck at 90. Okay, let me put this into the calculator here because I want to see exactly what 90 we're talking about. And I assume your CTS is your shoulder. So we have 70% PTSD. We have 40% back. I think that's a left arm. I don't think it matters for the rating criteria here. 10% for each leg. We have 10% for that. We have bilateral plantar fasciitis. You're at 93. Okay. 93. Oops, wrong one. 93%. So if you got hypertension, that would probably be rated at 0. Okay. But the most common secondary to hypertension, if you're on a diuretic, is urinary frequency. And that could be rated at 10, 20, 40, if I remember. And so you would need that 20% rating, as you can see here. Okay. But you're denied. So the question is, do you even fight it? Now, sleep apnea, obvious 100% there. What I would do if I were you, okay, this is a big one here. First off, I would look at other secondaries to mental health, potentially. I would look at your initial direct claims. I would look at presumptives. I assume you're a GWAT era veteran, okay? And the cool thing about 90%ers is if you email VA claims at EBVA claims, this goes for everyone. We have a money back guarantee, which means if you're at 70 and you don't get 80 or higher, you get your money back. For 90%, that really matters because you're either 100% or you get your money back. So it's a win-win there. You might want to consider emailing us. Okay, you specifically, but this goes out to everyone. But what I would do is look at secondary claims. That's high on my list. Hypertension would be high on my list if you take a diuretic. Okay. And it would be hypertension secondary to PTSD. Other secondaries to PTSD would be migraines. That would be on my list. I wouldn't touch your spine at all, right? You have back. with you have back at 40 with some radiculopathy ratings at 10. Although your radiculopathy ratings could be increased, I probably wouldn't be comfortable having your back re-examined because you are at 40%. You have bilateral plantar fasciitis. There's treatment options there. And so you need to get treatment and have the failure of treatment happen so you can get a higher rating. That would push you to 100. You have a few options there. Presumptives would be the easiest. And then you have TERA and MUCMI. So yeah, if I were you, I would email us. Okay. And if you don't want to email us, that's fine. But you can at least take what I said and be like, oh, I can start gathering evidence for that. What we would do is essentially walk you through what that would look like. So I hope that helps, LGS. Thank you very much for the super chat. All right. Is my sleep study and sleep apnea diagnosis from 10 years ago valid, or do I need a new one? You're going to need a new one. And the VA is going to schedule you a new one. If you submit a claim right now, your CMP exam is going to be a sleep study with an ACE probably. But if it is 10 years ago and you that was from service, direct is a much easier claim for sleep apnea. Man, there's so many chats. I feel like I'm never going to get to the bottom. Just curious, what was your job in the military? Yeah, so I was infantry. Have a giant 0341 here in the Marine Corps. Infantry mortars. After that 5 years, I joined psychological operations, which is a enabler and SOF. And then I would deploy with certain units, and I deployed many, many times. Okay, many times. So for me, I assume you asked that because I talked about PDHAs. For me, my post-deployment health assessments are just everywhere. Because every time I deployed, I had a pre-deployment health assessment and a post-deployment health assessment, and all of that's evidence. And you can see these medals right here. There's 9 of them. Okay. Clay, without a doubt, you've helped. Dude, that chocolate was so good. You've helped myself and many others through recommended your videos. Every vet. Hey, thank you, Ben. I appreciate that. Okay. Dude, no one's home. Oh, yeah, I'm not a big drinker. I used to be. And then, well, I'm not anymore. Let's just say that. Okay, Jason Divad says, hi, Clay. I'm service connected for acne and acne scars. I was prescribed medication in service that had side effects. Can I file anxiety and depression as secondary to my skin? Yes, very, very common. That would be a good video too. I always forget that. When you have, I'm going to use a strong word here. When you have deformities, like on your face, and it's recognizable, very easy mental health is secondary there. Absolutely. Yes. And I'm curious if you had the side effects in service, if you complained about it in service, it would technically be a direct claim, and then you would just reference the aggravation, not aggravation theory service connection, but you'd be able to reference that as evidence. All right, we have another super chat. Dude, we are killing chats today. Member, big old chat from Tyler. Member, chat. Big one, Tyler. Member, chat. It's a good day. And then we have this chat. So thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate that. Husband denied COP-D with favorable diagnosis and he conceded TERA. Okay. States no basis for service connection. Yep, he has smoking history, but this is not mentioned at all. Next steps. Yeah, so Southwest Asia. That is weird to me because when you look at Southwest Asia, those are the presumptive areas mainly for COP-D. Assuming that he's in that time frame, that would have been an easy claim. I can't assume that because he was denied. So that's the assumption I'm using to go forward now, is that he doesn't rate presumptive. He has a diagnosis. That's great. Since it's not presumptive, it's got to be via direct. For COP-D, you're really not going to see that secondary. What's the evidence from service? Okay. And if it's TERA would probably be the best bet there. That's probably going to require a Nexus letter, and I hate making that recommendation every time, but there are some claims that, especially like TERA, you need a board-certified specialist in that area to give the opinion, and that's a hard one there. The only way I would go forward with that, Amy, for your husband, is that the COP-D rating would push his overall rating to something that's worth it. Obviously, 100% would be worth it, okay? But if we're talking like I'm rated 30 and I could potentially be rated 40%, that changes things a little bit. So it just depends on what the other factors are with that. And I would also not get tunnel vision on COP-D. I would look at his entire VA claim situation. Increases, secondaries, denials, new claims, presumptive TERA, and see what that rating would look like without COP-D. Oftentimes, we kind of get tunnel vision on a single claim. So those are my counter questions to that. He's at 80 now. Yeah. A COP-D rating would probably push a decent 80 to 90, which I think would be worth it. It's like $2,400, I think, per month right now, and it'll increase here soon. So I think that would be worth it. But again, that TERA exams are not easy whatsoever. So before I would go the Nexus letter TERA route, personally, I would look holistically at his other claims and see what his overall rating would be when he's properly rated without COP-D. I hope that makes sense. That was a lot. That's a hard one though. That's a great question. Chief Vince. I got 10% disability 2 weeks ago and didn't even know I applied for benefits. Just went to appointments as arranged. Was 36 years out. 10 tinnitus, 0% hearing service related. You probably rate more. Now, I have no basis of saying that other than I'm looking at veterans who are rated, and most of them are not rated at 10%. Okay, so you're probably severely underrated. You might want to email us, homie. VAclaims at ebvaclaims.com. I'll put that in the chat for you, for everyone. But you might want to email us. Now, I'm going to tell you straight up, if you email us, you're going to get a templated response back. I was over 100% PNC 4 months ago. Nice. Congrats. Congrats to you. While a lumbar reduction was proposed, I had seen P exam for the reduction. Okay? It's crazy to see a lumbar spine reduction there. Examiner did not use goniometer, and I was reduced. You were reduced. Okay. So I take back my money thing. Reduced. What would I do? For anyone in this situation, you appeal directly and provide your own evidence. That ship has sailed for you. What I would do is do an increase. Get your evidence and do an increase. And what was the reduction to? Right, you're at 93. You're pretty close. Was it like bilateral 40s, right? Were you severed cervical connection? You were 100% P&T, so I want to know, did you submit an HLR? And when the DRO got a hold of it, you're just at that mercy. I'm not a big fan of HLRs. For people who are 100% P&T, listen to this. Do not submit an HLR unless you are fully prepared for all possibilities. Okay, because once that DRO, the decision review officer, once you're in the DRO's hands, that's it. There's no getting out. Okay, and that goes for all claims. You can do an HLR on a single issue, and that DRO will look at everything. So a lot of people don't realize that HLRs are an invitation for a decision review officer to, how do I say this? I'm not trying to fearmonger, but people get reduced all the time, and it's because of HLRs. It's, you have to be prepared for any possibility. Increases, SMCs, and reductions as well. And I'm willing to bet you submitted an HLR. 3,000 degrees. Thank you for being a member. Appreciate that. Raven B. Slade. Hilarious name. Do I need a current diagnosis if I'm claiming PTSD due to personal trauma? It would help. I asked because it's been about 5 months and I still have not received the CMP exam. That's crazy, especially now because the backlog is being tackled and your claim is in the backlog. You also already submitted that claim. And so if you are seeking healthcare and you have a diagnosis, I would just submit it via quick submit with a personal statement ASAP. Do you need one? The answer is yes. That you're going to get a diagnosis at some point, assuming you have it or not. Okay. And that's probably going to be during the CMP exam. I'm not a big fan of relying on the CMP examiner for literally anything. Nothing. I can't stand CMP examiners. The VA is not the enemy, in my opinion. It's CMP examiners. Contracted CMP examiners. Thanks for being here, Clay. Hey, there's no questions. There's no live Q&A. And we have a good amount of super chats today, so it's a good day. I'll answer. I'm not going to be able to pull it up, but I'll answer it just because I was on that rant for a second. James says, can 100% P&T be reduced without filing any new claims? 99.9% of the time, the answer is no. Unless the VA made a mistake and it gets caught, or fraud was committed, obviously, which fraud is so, it's such a small error there, or margin, if you will. So the technical answer, technically, the answer is yes. But again, 99.999% of the time, James, the answer is no. All right, so if you're a P&T and you're not submitting new claims, maybe you don't even seek healthcare because you just don't like talking to the doctor. Like me, I can't stand going to the doctors. I hate it. If my migraines weren't so bad, trust me, I wouldn't go to the doctor. But yeah, you're fine. Don't worry about it. You can smooth sail from there. And I hope that gives you some rest for those who are P&Ters. Just awarded P&T today. I have something for you. There it is. I'm over 55. Do I need to continue to see my private doctor every month? Nope. So I'm not a doctor, okay? Now, obviously, I'm a YouTuber in my basement. I'm saying that because I'm not giving medical advice, but what I will tell you is that healthcare is important. Okay. And I would reword this, DB Cooper, to does maintaining P&T require healthcare? The answer is no. Should you seek healthcare because you need it? Probably, okay? But there's not going to be any effect there, especially if you're looking at private. If you go private insurance, you can pretty much do whatever you want. So you'll be good. Ben Hickman. All right, just had my second PTSD CMP yesterday. She was definitely mad when she read my 6-year-old exam that denied me benefits. She said the examiner was severely incompetent. That sounds like a pretty favorable CMP exam. It also sounds like there's potential for a Q there, which again, if you're going Q, my advice is always to lawyer up. A little shaky on that Q advice there. So I would at least consult a lawyer if you want to go that route. But hey, you had a favorable CMP exam, so that's good. There's Dr. Sharma's Concise Psych YouTube channel again. So if you want to follow him, that'd be great. He makes good content. He really does. I'm 10% tinnitus, 30 migraine. Should I go for vertigo? So vertigo, secondary to anything outside of TBI, is a nothing burger. Right, so tinnitus with vertigo is 10%, and 30% or migraines with vertigo for you would be 30%. Right, it's not going to increase your rating at all. Same thing with insomnia secondary. All right, is my sleep study and sleep diagnosis from 10 years ago? We answered that one. Let's get another question. Stephen Miller says, can lumbar strain be secondary to mental health? Because mental states keep me from exercise. So I always start secondaries like this. Anything can be secondary to anything else. That's not the issue. The issue is, what's the evidence? And if you have evidence that is suggesting that your mental health sucks so bad that you can't exercise and therefore it's causing some condition in your back, to me, that's a hard sell. Not impossible. I'm not a psychiatrist either, so don't take my word for it. I would want to know what kind of back condition we're talking about, right? Because if it's like, say you broke your back or something stupid like that, obviously mental health didn't cause it, right? If it's degenerative disc disease or degenerative arthritis, I'm not so sure on the mental health connection to that versus like you have mental health, you took medication, you didn't work out because of that, it had you gain weight, your weight gain has put too much pressure long time on your musculoskeletal structure. That makes sense, but I still think it's a very hard sell, and it all depends on what your back condition is. Is it bad to file a claim in September? If so, what is the CMP scheduled for October? Okay, so you're referencing Raider HQ's advice on filing in October. And I'll be real with you here. If he's a retired VA Raider, I would do what he says personally. And so if you wait 4 or 5 days, whatever that math is, for October 1st. If you filed a claim in September, does that mean your claim is dead? No, I don't think so. Okay. But when it comes to performance ratings, maybe. And that's the whole premise behind that video idea there. So, but I don't think everyone who submits a claim in September has a dead claim. I wouldn't say that either. And I don't think that's what he was saying either. Be filing for sleep apnea in October as secondary. I'm diagnosed and service connected for both. I'm confused there. If you're saying you're connected for sleep apnea already, we have hypothyroidism. I don't know. Something's weird. For that instance, the VA worked with me to pay it back to manageable small increments. So, yeah. Those debts, dude, they don't play around. Clay, would you go for SMCs if you're a P&T for over 15 at your current rate? 15 years of disabilities that aren't going to get better, yeah, I would be comfortable going for SMCs. If it's like SMCK, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't risk it for the biscuit personally. But if we're talking about like half steps and we're getting into the thousands of dollars per month, I would absolutely consider it, right? Because 15 plus years on disabilities that are naturally going to get worse. Hello, that makes sense to me. Olivia Grace Show, if you're 90% and want to get to 100, or let's just say properly rated, to anyone who wants to be properly rated and you want to use our claim service for that, hit us up, okay? Can you do it on your own? Absolutely. This YouTube channel and many others will help you do that. If you want a one-on-one personalized touch, shoot us an email. You know, you're going to get a templated response. At least hear us out. Or don't. That's fine. That's fine too. But we've helped a lot of people get 100% P&T. Let's just say that. You know, and we're doing that with no fraud. None. Thanks, man. Good stuff. Hey, thank you. Appreciate that. Not even a sliver. September Fire. I had a CMP exam. Okay. Had a CMP exam for radiculopathy. The only exam in my back. I think I had less forward flexion. I may get re-rated. Yeah, so whenever you submit, listen up. For anyone who has a spine rating, upper or lower, cervical or lumbar, thoracolumbar, anytime you submit a claim for radiculopathy or an increase on your back, it doesn't matter. The entire thing is going to get re-examined. It's the same DBQ. It's a huge DBQ. Okay. So let's say you do a secondary for radiculopathy. Your spine is going to be re-examined all over again, in addition to your nerve damage. And so whenever you open that gate, it's a CMP exam. And yes, you can have a new rating, whether that is higher or lower, depends on the events of the CMP exam. Tyler says, much love to the team. Thank you. Much relief and life-changing coming through. He just got 100% P&T. That's why he's been donating and giving membership. So Tyler, thank you very much. I appreciate all of that. And congrats on your rating, by the way. Next level cash. Yep, you got a gift. Congrats. Brandon, if you already been diagnosed with sleep apnea and had sleep study, yes. Short answer. I'm going to try and rapid fire some of these. For those that are still watching, submitted hazard claims, please watch claims. Thank you, S. Trent. I appreciate that. Yes, you can work if you're P&T. Can you submit too much medical evidence? No, it's either relevant or it's not. And if it's relevant medical evidence, you want to submit all of it. All of it. Okay? Do you know if effective date is something you can HLR? Yes, you can HLR their effective date specifically. Recently got partially rated and they used the file date as the effective date. So the only thing I would question you before doing that, okay? And the VA gets this wrong all the time. So by all means, if you think you have an earlier effective date, submit it. I would look at the diagnosis, okay? When were you diagnosed with that condition clinically? And if the answer is still, hey, I rate the earlier effective date, then go for it. Okay, but the date of diagnosis really matters there, and a lot of people tend to forget that. Dr. Andy, a second. Let me read your first one just in case these are connected. Thank you very much for that. So, hi, I submitted 3 private DBQs via requested. Okay, so you does not need to be present for exam. We talked about the insufficiency for that. Private DBQs were for back, lumbar, radiculopathy, shoulder, leg, insufficiency. No requested exam for the leg, but requested for the other 2. So back is a reason for exam request. Okay, I would ask who completed your DBQ for that, and don't donate again. I'll feel bad. Thank you for donating twice though. I would ask who completed your DBQ for those, like a chiropractor, was it an MD, physician, like what it was, nurse, your mom, like who we talking about there. And 2, was it in person, right? Because we're talking about musculoskeletal here. That definitely matters. And if you're really worried about attending the CMP exam, you could call the VA. That's what I would do personally. Call the VA and let them know that your DBQ is actionable and sufficient. I would use those words specifically, actionable and sufficient. And you're curious as to why your exam was scheduled in the first place. That's what I would do, Andy. And you say NP, in person. Oh, I see. I would still call the VA, Andy, and just say exactly what you said here. You travel 8 months out of the year for work. You have actionable and sufficient, use those words specifically, actionable and sufficient in-person DBQs from a qualified nurse practitioner. And you don't understand why these claims were being sent for further development through a CNP exam. Right? That's what I would do. There's also an option, which I'm not really recommending, but at least look at it. There's a form. I forgot. I need to write this down. I always forget this form name. You can request the VA to rate the claim as is. Okay. I normally don't even bring that up because veterans would abuse it because they don't know what they're talking about. But I think in your situation, that is at least an option to consider. Everything at once. Yes, VSB. The answer is yes. Do you cash scratch? When should you file your claims? When you have the evidence. You have a whole year to get the evidence. Whatever you have evidence for, you submit. I filed my initial claims the same day my ITF was going to expire. So, assuming you got it right, this is the day before, right? So let's say I didn't intend to file right now. It's September 26th. The last date would be September 25th, right? Because it's 1 year. So assuming it was a day prior to what the assumption is here, you're fine. If not, then no, you're not. I'm filing for sleep apnea secondary in October, service-connected, diagnosed for both. What are the chances? I mean, they'll accept it, sure. You're going to get a CMP exam, though, whether that's in person or an ACE. A Q is a clear, unmistakable error. And that's what veterans get wrong all the time. It's not a mistake. A Q is not a mistake. It's much bigger than a mistake. It's a clear, unmistakable error. Meaning the VA messed up so bad that the claim was denied. This could be in 1993, okay? That today you identify a Q and you win that Q claim, you will be backdated all the way back to the date of the Q, right? In this scenario, it's 1993. So when you see back pay, like I've seen back pay go up to about $700,000. When you see big back pay like that, it's probably Q. ACE is acceptable clinical. I always forget the acronym there. It's a CMP exam that's not in person. They can request you be in person. Acceptable clinical evidence, I think is what it says. Now I'm curious. Acceptable clinical evidence. Yeah, I was right. So it's just a CMP exam that is most likely not going to require you to be there Could be over the phone, but most likely it happens in the background. If I have a DBQ and IMO, should I still send in my VA medical records, or do I not have to because they can check? You don't have to. It depends on how much steroids you want to put on your claim. What I would do is, if I paid for a medical opinion in a DBQ, I would take all the time in the world to gather my evidence and make it a nice little pretty bow package with that claim. So I'm talking about my relevant VA medical records, my private medical records, my statements that are outlining this evidence. I'm writing the statement to the decision maker, the VA rater, and saying, hey, I have this condition as evidenced by 1, blah, 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 enclosure, whatever. 2, blah, 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 enclosure, whatever. That's how I would do it, right? Especially if you're paying for a Nexus letter. Like you want to put the best foot forward. But do you have to? No. But again, it matters. All right, Jose Mendoza. I recently got diagnosed with chronic combat PTSD. My question is, would I have to get a Nexus letter? No. Any PTSD claim, especially combat, I would almost never recommend a Nexus letter because the in-service stressors should be clear as day. DBQs, on the other hand, for a proper rating, that might, my opinion would skew there. But for like a combat-related PTSD claim, the evidence is clearly in your records. Yeah, I wouldn't sweat that at all. I would just submit the claim. Hello, can I submit a private DBQ for my psychologist for PTSD MST? So PTSD has its own criteria there. It depends on the supervision of the psychologist and what that looks like. Long story short, can you submit one? Yes. Is the VA, because it's PTSD, 2, it's MST. Is the VA going to require you to do a CMP exam and they're going to verify the diagnosis and stressor? Absolutely. Okay. It wouldn't hurt. I don't think you're gaining much by it from a psychologist, at least. But to answer your question, yes. However, you're going to do it again anyways. Clay got a new tat. I'm assuming you mean me. Yes, I got one. Let me show you. I'm a big nerd. That's the Andoril Flame of the West. For the non-nerds, it's the Lord of the Rings sword. And this is the Tree of Gondor with the roots. You can see the roots are like binding the sword back together. The blade that was broken has been remade. Andoril, Flame of the West. All right, currently at 50 and have a sleep apnea claim, would it be wise to submit all claims, even if they exceeded the 100% level? If you are not 100%, you submit everything possible to be properly rated, period. I wouldn't leave anything out. The reason why is because once you get to like 86, 87%, you're going to start seeing that every single rating really matters to push you to the 95. Can you do a video someday on VA helpless child? When I got my PNT, I learned of this special needs kids and vets. Absolutely. Yes. For sure. Long story short, they can be a dependent. I would also look at Taint VA if you're interested in that. I submitted 3 dependents 2 months ago and they have not been approved. How long does it take? It takes forever. No one can answer that. That is a big, really dumb claim for that. Big picture, what do you feel needs to happen to get more GWAT vets using the VA system, resources, etc.? There's a stigma in the GWAT community, and I'm saying this because a lot of my friends fall in that category, where most GWAT veterans join to deploy and not deploy to Kuwait or Okinawa. They deploy to go to Afghan, Iraq, Syria, Somalia. And not every GUWAT veteran got to do that. All right, even if they were in the infantry, not every infantryman got to do their job deployed. And so with that comes with the stigma of, it's the same thing when people say, thank you for your service. And they feel weird when someone thanks them because they believe that, hey, he's like, oh man, I didn't really do much. I just sat on a boat all day, which may or may not be true. But that same stigma carries over to applying for VA disability when it's like, hey, I really didn't do anything for my service. Reason A, reason B, reason C, therefore I don't go to VA. So it would be breaking that stigma. And I think that is extremely difficult. And I don't think there's an answer for it. I think there's while every veteran has access to the VA, not every veteran wants access to the VA. Is there a point where filing all possible claims hurts you? No. I mean, unless if you are not 100%, you need to file all potential claims you could be rated for. Once you reach 100%, that's where poking the bear comes into play. At least that's my opinion. And so, yeah, be careful about that one. Oh, we will skip that one. That's about combat Greg, so I didn't want to, that sounds good. Oh, yes. Okay. If I'm diagnosed with skin cancer deployed to Kuwait, we answered that one, Hunter. Okay. Looking at terror exams. Have a good Friday. Thank you. Congrats on your gifted membership there. All right. Please look at Caleb Hammer's recent shorts. I saw it. Y'all want to see something that's really going to make you mad? Let's go look at it right now. I hope I can do this without being flagged on YouTube, but whatever. Who cares? Only have one strike. Hold on. Let me turn up the volume and share this screen. And I will look up Caleb Hammer. This is going to make you mad, everyone. So just buckle up, okay? Where's it at? This one.
What do you do for a living?
I just get VA disability. That's how I support myself.
Oh, wow, how much does that bring in on a monthly basis?
32 a month.
Is that enough to live on in Oklahoma City?
Absolutely. I got a house, I got a brand new truck, I got a Harley.
We're bringing in $4,766 a month.
And then also 100% disabled the VA. So that brings in an extra $3,700 a month.
Wow. May I ask what happened?
I fell off of a jet in Afghanistan and compressed my spine and messed up my knees, my neck.
What branch did you serve with?
Air Force.
I was in the Navy for 6 years. I get VA disability.
Very cool. And what is that on a monthly basis?
I get $2,000 for that and free healthcare. So can't put a price on that.
Wow.
Uncle Sam is my favorite sugar daddy. With the VA money that comes in, we make about $8,000 a month.
VA.
Husband is VA.
Okay.
Yeah. So retired military.
Is it disability?
Yeah, disability pay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is every time. There's not been one veteran on the show that does not have a disability.
Well, he did get blown up overseas in a vehicle.
That's a good way to get disability. What do you do for a living?
Okay. Hope you could hear that. And hopefully this stream doesn't get flagged. Anyways, yeah, so I'll probably do a video on that one. That big boy right there. Oh, Rock. Hello. Can I submit a private DBQ for my site? Oh, we answered that one. Hey, Clay, if I got 0% for allergic rhinitis, but just had surgery for chronic sinusitis, and they found polyps during surgery, can I get a higher rating now for allergic rhinitis? Do you have polyps? Do you currently have polyps? Okay. And if the answer is yes, then sure. And then same thing for your sinusitis. If the surgery isn't corrective, right? Like if it doesn't do anything. Do you know if veterans benefit travel is struggling right now, been taking longer than usual for claims in regard to mileage claims? No, I just think they have a new claim system for travel claims. You can do it on the app now. And so more veterans are probably submitting travel claims. And so they're taking longer. That's my guess, okay? Because it is a new feature on the app. I have no idea. The VA could also be hyper focused on disability claims as well. Yeah, I told you that video make you mad. I have an intent to file open but not submitted because I have all my personal, because you want to have all your personal statements and Nexus letters ready. Is there a box to fill out? Your VA file number is your social. Do I submit statements afterwards to get percentage? So this is a weird one. If you already have the intent to file and you've already planned on submitting your claims with all evidence, I would just keep on that plan, like hold strong. Don't jump the gun, okay? The only way I would jump the gun is if your intent to file was about to expire. But hey, you started out with a plan. You wanted to formulate your evidence all with your claim as you submit it. I assume you paid for a Nexus letter. You're invested in this. Breathe, take the time, submit that claim as a whole. That would be my advice. Now, you can do whatever you want, okay? But if I'm you, that's what I would do. Travel, poker, you're good, okay? HLRs are only ill-advised for those who are 100%, at least for me, okay? Because HLR is the ingredient to getting slapped in the face. General question, if one has to have a CMP exam, how much time, how far out, calendar-wise, does a veteran have to attend? Oh, we already answered that one. I'm concerned about VA struggling with staff. Well, the Lincoln Federation letter, did I do a video on that? Was that today? I don't even know what was posted today. I recorded a few videos. Yes, that was today. It does raise concerns, okay? I think it's something that we're going to have to wait and see when the dust settles what the veteran healthcare actually looks like in the future, like a year from now. But yeah. Sadiq says, what's up, Clay? Love what you're doing to help veterans through the claim process. I love it too. This is awesome. I love my job. I love my wife, my life. I love my wife too. Don't get me wrong. I love her a lot more when she's in Alabama. But recently got diagnosed with chronic. Oh, we answered that one. A lot of these are repeat questions. And I think we're going to end the stream on that. Let me just make sure there's no glaring, something crazy. We almost made it to the bottom. We were very, very close to the bottom. Yeah, mate. Congrats on your 90, especially getting out in 78. All right. And good luck on your HLR, for sure. Okay, that's the end of the stream for tonight. This was a good one. 2 hours and 55 minutes. I'm going to call it 3 hours. Thank you to everyone who donated, to everyone who stayed on the stream. I definitely appreciate it. Especially till the end. I really appreciate that. Anyways, that's all I got. I'm going to have to do a video on that Caleb Hammer thing we just saw. So stay tuned.